Hey, so I'm going to show two technique changes that you could make in a push-up, mainly two technique changes that are based on two distortion patterns that happen. And bear in mind that there's heaps of different versions of push-ups, heaps of different reasons for muscular activation, whether it's a shoulder overloaded one or whether it's just chest or triceps based on hand position and shoulder position. But when it comes to distortion patterns, that's where it affects our efficiency of being able to actually do the push-up and maintain kinetic chain, which is all your joints in line and keeping stable at the same time. So I'm just going to cover two distortion patterns, mainly two that I see happen quite often. And one thing to keep in mind, even with these corrections, you're probably going to do less push-ups as you start off with compared to when you're in your distortion pattern doing many, because you're quite used to it, even though you're doing damage to your joints in that. So just bear in mind, with these corrections, less is actually more, rather than doing heaps of reps at a really compromised position that could hurt you or just cause discomfort. Doing these corrections right over time, you're going to develop strength to be able to do more. And another thing, everyone should be able to do some form of push-ups. Doesn't matter how many numbers you get into it. Like, everyone should be able to do 1 to 2, push-ups just in general. Because you got to remember, you got your basic strength that you need. If you fall over, you need to be able to lift yourself back up again, and you need that upper body strength for that. So I know there's people on the bandwagon who just, I will never do a push-up, but you should have some form of understanding of, I need to be able to do one push-up to be able to lift myself up and reduce my chances of hurting myself. So yeah, here's two distortion patterns and corrections that I'll explain. Okay, so anyone with eagle eyes would have noticed both those distortion patterns in the push-ups I did related to the actual shoulder joint and where it was positioned. Okay, so the first one with elbow winging, so that's where the shoulder is internally rotating and abducting out, so it's pushing my elbow out further. Problem with that is when you shift your shoulder like this, you're coming to the point where it's going to be muscle, and then it's going to be ligaments and tendons and the actual joint taking the pressure, and as well as you're shutting off the chest pretty much. You want to remember, you want to work the chest with the chest open and then close it. But if it's already closed and you go to push up, you're just applying pressure to the joint and the shoulders, so not exactly viable when it comes to push up. So the other distortion pattern was hands too high up. Again, too much overload in the shoulders. I'm starting to shrug when I go to push up, and you're just going to feel a lot of pressure there. So both relating to the actual shoulder joint. So when you see your push-ups up, you want to be flat on the ground first, and you want to measure out and make sure that you got it like at your shoulder width, okay? And then you go one hand spacing apart from that. And then you want to make sure your eyesight is just ahead of your hands, and that way when you push up, it's going to be evenly throughout the kinetic chain. It will be a lot harder to do if you haven't done it before, but like I said, it's going to be practice makes perfect, and you'll get stronger the more you do it, opposed to doing heaps of reps in the wrong compromised position and just overloading your joints. But yeah, hopefully that was helpful.